The Pakistan Federal Cabinet meeting chaired by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has approved the draft of 26th constitutional amendment. The Senate session is ongoing at the Pakistan Parliament, which will be followed by a National Assembly session scheduled at 6 p.m. There was a flurry of activity throughout last night around getting the bill through. Ministers and members of the National Assembly from multiple parties held meetings in Parliament well into the night. And the desperation could be seen when Prime Minister chaired a meeting of the Union Cabinet in the wee hours of Sunday. The Minister said all aspects of the draft approved by the committee were presented for consideration in the Cabinet meeting. He added that the concerns of coalition parties were also taken into account during the discussions. Over the days, however, it has boiled down to a numbers game in Parliament, digging up an old flashpoint between the Shehbaz Sharif government and the opposition party led by Imran Khan. Earlier, Khan's party had slammed the proposed reforms, calling them unconstitutional. Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, the PMLN, Pakistan People's Party, the PPP, and Jamiat Ulema Islami Fazul, the JUIF, agreed on judicial reforms through the proposed constitutional amendments. But the Maulana Fazlur Rahman-led party, JUIF, was not in favor of some other points. Take a look at some of the proposed amendments. An increase in retirement age for Supreme Court judges to 68 from the present 65. Also proposed is a 3-year term for the Chief Justice of Pakistan. A parallel federal constitutional court alongside the Supreme Court, and the authority to appoint the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and the Chief Justice of the Constitutional Court to be transferred to the Prime Minister based on recommendations from an 8-member National Assembly Committee. It is here that some point of friction has been noted that Pakistan's current CJP Isa is set to retire on October 25th, and Justice Syed Mansoor Ali Shah is next in line to become the top judge. Our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik is now joining us live. Hi Anas, one of the bone contentions was the opposition's role in this process. PTI had branded the reforms unconstitutional, and now one of the ministers says concerns of coalition parties are also taken into account during the discussions. Is there still a deadlock, or what's the latest update from your end?
Well, the marathon that was ongoing for the past 2 weeks or so, in fact, for the past 2 months with regards to the 26th constitutional amendment, that has ended. There has been a consensus that has emerged both between the opposition parties and the government alliance. That would be safe to say. The reason Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, the chairperson of the Pakistan People's Party, said that congratulations on the day of the 26th constitutional amendment, pardon me, on that. So largely, there is no more controversial or conflicting points. The draft has been agreed upon, and in fact, as I talk to you, the hall that's to my right, the Senate hall, where that is where currently the voting process has begun. It's going point by point, and once they're done with the Senate, that is the upper house of the Parliament, then the bill will be tabled, the amendment will be tabled before the National Assembly. The Senate, remember, was supposed to begin at 3. It did not begin up until 5:30. The National Assembly was supposed to begin at 6. It's over 7:30 now. They're yet to begin, but what we understand is that the process will be completed before midnight, primarily because both the Pakistani Foreign Minister has to depart for Samoa to lead the Pakistani delegation in the Council of the Commonwealth Heads of Governments meeting, CHOGM, and the former Pakistani Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, he is also leaving for a private trip to Dubai. So in order to get the number game and get it rolling, they need to have it passed before midnight. For now, the numbers seem strong, and in Senate, which houses about 96 members, 64 is the magic number, and the government coalition are way above that 64 figure. Eric?
Anas Malik, very quickly, what if the bill fails at the Senate? What happens next?
the probability of that is almost zero, the bill failing. In case if that fails, then there has to be another, it has to go under the mill again, the same process, but the probability of the bill failing after being tabled is almost zero, because the government would not have tabled it if they would not have had the numbers. Now that they have the numbers, that is the reason they have tabled it. So it goes through first from the upper house of the parliament, that is the Senate, where currently point by point approval is ongoing on the vote, and then it comes through to the National Assembly. Eric?
All right, that is our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik. Anas Malik live in Islamabad. Thank you, Anas. Let's now talk to Barrister Mohammed Ahmad Pansota, who's an advocate, Supreme Court of Pakistan. He's now joining us live on this broadcast. Barrister, thank you very much for making time for us. Quickly, tell our viewers the significance or the importance of this constitutional amendment bill to Pakistan.
Well, this has been going on for the last 2 months, and as Mr. Anas has just summarized the whole thing, I think the most important aspect of this constitutional amendment is Article 175A, or the change which is being made to that, 175 and 175(1). That deals with the independence of judiciary, and there is a new procedure which is being brought in as regards the appointment of the Chief Justice, and also a few other factors. Initially, the draft was quite, I would say, corrosive, because that had talked about creation of a new federal court. But now it has been mellowed down to a point where a person will be selected from a panel of 3, and that person whosoever becomes the Chief Justice will then be appointed by the executive or the Prime Minister. There was going to be a panel of comprising of the opposition members and, of course, the government members, and then 2/3 majority would decide. Now, that aspect has been under strict scrutiny for the past few months, and one of the largest populations, as far as the political parties is concerned, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf has been opposing it on the touchstone of independence of judiciary, because they feel that it's an attack on the independence of judiciary. However, government has been able to make a consensus, and one of this arch opponents, Mr. Fazlur Rahman, has also somewhat agreed on that particular part, and the consensus has been reached. But the initial draft, which had come 2 months back, and this draft, there's a lot of difference between the two drafts, and now it seems like a more plausible constitutional amendment. But still, I believe Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf has its reservations, and apparently they're not going to vote. But recently, we had a judgment from the Honorable Supreme Court that dealt with Article 63A, which initially barred any member from voting against the party line. But now that has been mellowed down, and the members are allowed to vote. So there are a few members within the party from Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and the senators who are expected to vote. But overall, this constitutional amendment is going to make some serious structural changes to the constitution of Pakistan. It was long the demand of the government and the party which were in coalition. But the main and the crux is that it is directly impinges upon the independence of judiciary, which aspect is yet to be seen in the days to come. There is a possible challenge that can be made to it. But then once again, the very formation of benches will be taken away from the upcoming Chief Justice, which is Justice Mansoor Ali Shah. Okay. And now there's going to be another gentleman, who's going to be the presiding judge, who will form the benches. The most important power with the Chief Justice is the formation of benches. So let's see how the days in the coming days unfold, and how is this taken up in court.
All right. I think you've just summed it all up, because right now the bill is in the Senate, before the Senate. We be awaiting what the Senate decides, and then the bill will go to the National Assembly for further debate. I've been talking to Barrister Mohammed Ahmad Pansota, who's an advocate at the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Barrister, thank you very much for your time and for talking to us today.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.